you're new to Bitcoin, got really hooked about its potential to change the world, but then you discovered all the negatives about it. And now you're confused, almost doubting your intuition? Then this video is right here for you. We'll be uncovering the biggest Bitcoin myth circulating out there and thus helping you to ride your Bitcoin journey with confidence. We'll start right into it with probably the biggest and most common myth out there. Here comes myth number 1. Bitcoin consumes too much energy. In light of the so-called climate change, almost everybody has at a certain point the argument that Bitcoin is bad for our planet as it consumes way too much energy. And more, the energy consumed is largely very unsustainable. Let's have a look at what really happens. At first, Bitcoin mining only accounts for 0.1 to 0.2% of the world's energy consumption. This sounds very little, right? Especially when comparing this number to the energy consumption of, for example, the chemical industry, which uses between 5 to 6% of the global energy. Actually, mining is the most efficient, cleanest industrial user of electricity and is improving its energy efficiency at the fastest rate of any other major industry. No other industry, such as planes, trains, cars, or banking, come even close to this development. The majority of mining is powered by excess renewable energy and subject to a curtailment program whereby they only utilize otherwise unwanted load on the grid. The drive to access renewables and curtailment programs are a primary target of Bitcoin miners. So, how can that really be bad for the environment? In order for Bitcoin miners to be cost competitive, they turn to remote renewable sources that sustainably produce power disconnected from public demand. Today, around 60% of energy for Bitcoin mining comes from sustainable sources. More, many miners only utilize energy when there's no other demand for it. There are, for example, Bitcoin companies only using excess energy. This means they don't use electricity during peak hours, such as in the morning or evening. They only use energy when it would otherwise be wasted, thereby making the overall energy consumption more efficient. On to the next myth. Bitcoin has no inherent value. One of the major arguments against Bitcoin is that it is not backed by a physical asset like gold. What people forget here, neither is the US dollar or any other modern fiat currency. Thus, Bitcoin is backed by the exact same metric as are fiat currencies, demand and support from its users. However, Bitcoin offers a key difference, making it incredibly valuable. It is scarce. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. This scarcity is a major driver of its value, and in contrast to fiat currencies, where money can be printed on demand, helps make it resistant to inflation. Moreover, Bitcoin also derives value from the work the computers on the network contribute via a process called mining. Here, powerful computers all over the world supply a vast amount of processing power towards the work of validating and securing every transaction. Hence, Bitcoin's value is guaranteed by its participants and its utility, which directly leads us to myth number 3. Bitcoin has no real-world use. A lot of criticism of Bitcoin is that it isn't useful, and if so, only for illegal activities, which actually only accounts for 2% of all transactions. With Bitcoin, you can transfer money internationally not only at a fraction of the cost, but also a lot faster. And you don't even need a middleman like a bank or a payment processor for it. More importantly, Bitcoin is a store of value that can be compared to gold. Especially in times like these, where inflation rates are high, it functions as a great hedge to sustain your buying power. In this regard, it is often considered the modern version of gold. With the introduction of the Lightning Network, which is a second layer of Bitcoin offering instant micropayments, day-to-day use cases such as paying for your coffee with Bitcoin become increasingly available and will most likely represent a major utility in the near future. This leads us to myth number 4. Bitcoin will be replaced by a competitor. While there are thousands of other cryptocurrencies out there, none of them has come even close to replacing Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the first really successful digital money and, until today, by far remains the most valuable cryptocurrency out there. It makes up to around 60% of the entire crypto market and thus can be considered as the major price driver for other coins. Aside from being the first mover, the main reason for its success is that it is decentralized and deflationary by design. In contrast to all other cryptocurrencies out there, no company or government is behind Bitcoin. It is just made up by the world's biggest network of computers. Of course, a huge amount of innovation is happening in the space, so it can likely be that a bigger rival could emerge. But given current circumstances, most experts don't think Bitcoin will be replaced anytime soon. Today, Ethereum, the second largest coin by market cap, has a completely different mission and can hardly be compared to Bitcoin. Ethereum rather functions as the backbone of thousands of other crypto projects, offering the infrastructure for the smart contracts, whereas Bitcoin mainly is a store of value. On to myth number 5. Bitcoin is just a highly volatile trend. It is safe to say at this point that Bitcoin is here to stay. Since its start in late 2008, it has had tremendous success and its price has seen incredible highs. Of course, on this journey, it has experienced high volatility and compared to stock prices from old industry companies, it still does that today. However, Bitcoin has now gone through multiple price cycles where it has recovered each time to achieve new highs. As with any new technology, boom and bust cycles are expected. For example, at the end of the dot-com era in the 90s, Amazon stock plummeted from around $100 to only $5, only to become one of the most valuable companies in the world years later. Did you enjoy this video? Subscribe to my channel and leave me a comment with your biggest learning from today's video. Your support is very much appreciated.